Alright guys, welcome to another episode of R&B Reviews. My name is Ridwaan, this is Brinder, and today we're going to be talking about Loki episode 2 of the Marvel series. And we're just going to be discussing, some of the things that happened, how good it was. So I'm just going to defer to BD first and just ask him what he thought just generally of that episode.
I thought that episode was probably one of the best episodes of the TV series. In WandaVision, Falcon, and Loki, all three of them.
You're capping.
Yeah, I'm capping. That was terrible.
Yo, I actually almost believed you for a second. I was like, what the hell? I was like, there's no way.
That was really boring. Like, I was so bored. And, like, it was slow from the beginning. Midway, it got slower somehow. And it just remained slow until, like, the end.
I actually knocked out. Like, it felt like I was watching a show about, like, a guy and his coworker or something like that. Like, it was like they're trying to be The Office. It was so dumb. I was like, yo, what is going on here?
And they were like, there was like few funny parts.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it was just not funny. Like, they were making jokes and like you could barely, like, they would make a joke and you couldn't hear it. And then I replay the thing because I can't hear it just to find out it was a trash joke in the first place. I was so upset. I sent you the snap. I was just like, bro, like, what am I watching? Like,
because I felt like they were trying. I don't know what they were doing, that they were in the office for so long and so many office interactions that they couldn't like go out in the field or have like a side like arc where they did something. But nah, they were just chilling in the office doing absolutely nothing, talking about, oh, do I have permission to like do this or do I not have permission to do this?
It made me miss the first 2 episodes of Falcon. I was so bored during this. Like, at least Falcon, like, there's different interactions with other people, potential like other superheroes.
Yeah.
Like the new Falcon. What's his name? Not Rodriguez.
Whatever. Yeah, it was Rodriguez, wasn't it?
Rodriguez. Okay, yeah. So there was like it was okay. Like,
there's like different characters.
Yeah, this was boring, yo. This is terrible.
I think it might have been one of. Like, this series is turning out to be one of the most boring series in like the whole out of all like the Marvel
out
stuff.
Of all of it.
Like,
man.
I can't imagine where they go with the whole series as a whole. Like,
I still believe they have like
potential?
like a gap up that they can do, like stock markets. Like, they can just like jump up. A few levels just between like the ending and like, I don't know. This was very slow, yo.
Did Loki seem out of place to you? So for me, I was watching and I was like, yo, Loki doesn't seem like he's like the person I want him to be. Like, he's pandering to this guy, but maybe as part of his master plan or whatever, but he's pandering to like his boss and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, like, it just seems so unnatural. Like, that wasn't my idea of who Loki was. Did you feel like it was unnatural or not?
Not really. I guess to a slight degree, yes, but overall, like, he still seemed like a Loki, just more of like a less mischievous, like less, just kind of a lamer version.
Yeah,
of it. Like, I don't know. It was just, he seemed more of like a magician, like one of those just regular magicians than actually like his term is God of Mischief.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it just seems super lame. I don't know what was going on. Like, they kept hinting towards things, and I know there's gonna be Easter eggs and stuff to look for, but like, it was just so boring. I didn't want to look for them. Like,
if there was Easter eggs, I noticed that your the thing about the other Loki, spoilers by the way, so if you haven't watched it, definitely watch spoilers. It. The other Loki being a girl. So I seen that. I seen like.
What did you think when you saw her?
Honestly, when I seen her, I was like she was alright. She was like whatever.
Yeah, no offense to the actress, but I was like, oh, there goes another thing I was looking.
She didn't give me Loki vibes though.
She didn't.
She didn't She didn't remind me of like of him. Like, of himself.
No.
It just reminded me of like, just like, oh, this is like another villain. So I didn't really feel like that difference seeing it. I don't know. It was just so underwhelming. Then there's the part when they're in the tent and then he's just like telling the story of like, oh, like, she's still here. She's outside waiting for us. I got to do this, and that. Like, I felt like, and then he's like, oh, no, you're lying or whatever. I don't know. I just felt like all that stuff this was the most underwhelming thing I've ever like watched.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They could have done so much better. It was just like little things here and there. It wasn't funny. The character, like, there's nothing cool to look at.
Nothing.
You're in the TVA, so we already said we don't like that scheme of like the orange stuff and the old technology, but it's actually in the future-ish. But I don't know. They just kept everything the same, and it wasn't cool at all. Even the dial, you know, when at the end, spoiler, the female Loki like smokes the main timeline.
Yeah.
Like she bombs it. They at the TVA, they're calling to whoever they're calling, right? Like
Yeah.
they're calling a different department. He's using like a dial-up phone, and I'm like, yo,
You have so much
come on,
technology.
bro. Yeah, like this. The whole like, I don't know what the word is, but the whole like, it's just not it. Like move along with this, put some actual tech into it. I don't even when they were in like the rocks cart. I think it was like the Walmart version of the 2050.
Oh, that was supposed to. I guess so. Yeah, it was like a Walmart.
It was like a Walmart, but everything seemed the exact same except for little things here and there.
I think that's because like now people don't want to like 30 years in the future, things are mostly there. Everyone thinks things are mostly going to be the same now, except for like a few things. So I wasn't too shocked about that. I was a little bit surprised that of like the darkness of the show a little bit, because the guy would go in and then they were like trying to grab something. They were like the time people were trying to like grab something, and then he's like, oh, like you should be nice to them, like they're scared, and then he's like, well, they're gonna die anyways. So I felt like the show had like a little bit more darkness, but I wish they like did something with that. Like it looks like they're allowed to be more dark, but I don't know. Like there's nothing. I really don't have much to say about like this episode or like the show so far, other than I don't think it's gonna be great.
I don't know. I don't like right now. It just doesn't seem like it's gonna be good. And it's for 6 episodes to have 2 of them be like slow build up. Like your last 4 has to kill it for you to even compete with anything else.
You know what's crazy? This was slower, and I couldn't even imagine it. But these 2 episodes were slower than the Falcon and the Winter Soldier like first 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like,
how is that even possible? Like, I don't know. And they set things up so nicely where he's become a detective. Like now, I wanted to see like him in action. But obviously, his first step was to go after Loki. It makes sense. They kind of like, it's only 6 episodes. Like, let's make it story driven.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he was brought there to do. And then like when you finally meet her, it's so underwhelming. When she destroys the timeline, I don't know, maybe it's the setting I was watching it in. It was so underwhelming. Like the significance of what she was doing wasn't really like that big deal. Yeah. I was just like, oh, like she just set off a few things and like the time.
I will say that they did ask like the right questions. Like Loki, I think this is when they're like taking the lunch break, and just before Mobius figures out like the female Loki left Candy. During that period, they're talking about like, he's like, oh, Loki was saying to Mobius, I usually think you're smart, but when you start talking about like, this is how I believe it to be, this is how it is, I start to think you're dumb, right? And he started questioning. He's like, what's the end? And then Mobius says, it's
no chaos.
It's still progressing. And then once we get there, there'll be order, and we'll just sit back and like meet together in peace or something like that. Yeah. And he's like, that just sounds so like weird and lame, like, and boring. Yeah,
it does kind of sound boring. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, because it also like, if the end time, in my opinion, like time wouldn't have an end, because it's not like like there's multiple universes, right? Yeah. And they're the timekeepers. If one universe dies, okay, but it's multiple universes. Yeah. So why would there be an end? That would mean there's an end to everything, which doesn't make sense. Yeah. Right?
Like there can't be an end to time, and you're still living, like you're still doing something with.
I don't think there can be an end to time, period. Like there'll be a next stage. Like say if our civilization dies. Yeah. Like there's still multiverses of like, I don't know, thousands of other universes. Yeah. In the same timeline, so they're existing. Our universe just happened to die, and they're continuing. And then maybe from our death, like another universe is born, and it'll just continuously keep going. So how are they explaining this time stuff? I don't get it. Like when he said these 3 lizards control time, like they control everything. They dictate what happens and what doesn't happen. And Loki was making points to that. Like he's like, what you're saying doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make.
Because he's like, I believe in free will. You're saying there is no free will. And he's like, essentially, that's pretty much it.
I don't know. I feel like I can't, like, there's not enough information for me to disagree or agree with you. I just feel like watching it, I really don't have anything to say. I feel like I'm at a loss for words. Because
I am too.
There's not much to say. Like, last episode was supposed to be the shortest episode ever. But this might be the shortest one, because I'm trying to really think of, like, interesting characters that I'm like, oh, like that character was cool or this character was cool. I feel like they
Nothing's
showed us all
popping
the
up.
characters from last episode. There's nothing really to like dive into. Like
There, okay, we'll go with like, how about Easter eggs? Like, so the things that I was noticing was when Mobius was in the judge's chambers, or like her office.
yeah,
He kept talking to like other agents, being favorites, whatever. Like, where's this item from? I don't remember it. She's like, I have other agents.
yeah,
And he seems to like hint at like not a love relationship, but he seems to like hint at wanting a relationship or something with the judge. But
I think so. I got that vibe
but
too.
but the judge is like preoccupied with somebody else, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I remember telling you last episode that she dates Kang or she's the lover or married to Kang the Conqueror from the comics.
Yeah,
And then when she signs off on something to let Loki like go in the field, and he signs it, he notices something. He says something, which is like the audio is so weird, like I can't hear it. Even blasted my TV, I just can't hear it. So he says something, and then he looks at the pen, and the pen says, "Franklin D. Roosevelt High School." But aren't they created by the timekeepers?
the people that were there, I don't know.
Yeah. So where's that pen from? Like that's pretty much what they're asking. Like, is she a real person that just ended up at the time at the TVA? Like, how does that work? So that was like a little bit of an Easter egg to
Yeah.
look for. And then some Easter eggs would be through the paperwork that Loki looks at. He sees the destruction of Asgard. It says planetary destruction.
I remember that, and it shows like the amount of casualties, like
Man,
9,000.
yeah, and it says like the people were wiped out.
Yeah,
But it doesn't talk about like, or I didn't see it talk about like survivors heading to Earth.
I remember from the ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of confused about that, and then like the people that are wiped out. Loki didn't seem to care about the people that were wiped out.
He shed a tear when he saw like the whole thing.
Because when the guy asked him, he's like, oh, I'm sorry about your people. He's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he did that on purpose to not put him in the light that he's emotional over that.
Okay.
So he was tearing up. This right, just the scene prior, he was tearing up a little bit because he cares. He does actually care.
Yeah.
That's his homeland and everything like that. But what's weird is, you know how he saw his future? He saw it up until he dies.
Yeah.
Just before he dies, he just caused Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So why is he surprised that like
His people
Ragnarok
died?
happened? Yeah, he saw it happen. He should have saw it happen.
Maybe when he read it, like, it hit him like
It hit him first?
9,218. I don't know. Or maybe he only seen clips.
And for, this another question I have is like, first episode, why did, like, when he's talking to the judge, how does he know that the Avengers went travel back in time? He's 2012 Loki. He just picks up a thing and then goes back. How does he?
Did he watch? Was that after or before he watched?
That's before.
100% before.
It was before.
How does he know the Avengers traveled in time? That's a good. I don't know.
He must have seen a double, but his mouth was shut. But when I go through like the scene in my mind, I don't see anything of him seeing a double.
Maybe they just didn't cover. They didn't think about that and they just let him say that.
They had to have thought about that.
You think so?
Other than that,
I feel like with the series, they're like man loose. Like they should have got the DC writers to work on the series. Maybe it's only 6 episodes, but
the DC series, no, I don't even
TV series.
No.
They all not
one
every
division
single
beats
one of
every
them-
single one.
Every single one of them has a great first season.
Yeah, but that's just to get you into it. Their story sucks.
No, Arrow's first season,
It was good to get me into it.
amazing.
And then when they broke down the story, it was terrible.
It just they didn't have that. The story did.
He was trapped on an island for 5 years for Arrow, and then somehow like he goes to China and then Russia and then
yeah.
I don't know, man.
But yeah. So, and do you have anything more to add to that?
You didn't like this
I actually
episode.
don't have anything more. Like, there's nothing more to add. Like, I'm hoping on the next episode there'll be like a lot more to like speak about or a lot more to like talk about. But I just feel like with this episode, it's a lot of setup. Like, maybe in the next episode we get to see more. But I genuinely can't think of like things that I want to talk about.
Thing is, like, what are they setting it up for? Like, what do you expect?
I expect Loki to meet up with Loki and then like put her in time jail. Like, that's it.
This is like DC Legends like type
Yeah,
stuff.
like I really don't have like now after these 2 episodes, my expectations have like dropped heavily. Like I have nothing, but I didn't watch the trailer, so I don't really have that much outlook on it. But I really just like I'm just disappointed. I'm like one of those fans that like watch something and just disappoint. I even rewatched because I fell asleep halfway through, so I rewatched some of the parts again. So and then after when I rewatched it, I'm like, yeah, like this there's no way that this could be.
What do you think about like Mobius not being charged? Like he's from the first episode, I got the idea that like he was like detective and one of the head detectives, if not the head. So seeing like a workforce agent, like I'm not sure what that lady's name was. She hates on Loki.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I don't know why she
like
hates.
she's like the security guard.
Yeah, she's like this is my thing. Like you don't get to say anything. Like this is my field operation. And then her subordinate, like how are those two able to talk back to like Mobius, or even if she is, how is he able to talk? Like what's the structure? What's going on?
I feel like she's like that's a good question.
From the first episode, like you thought Mobius like ran stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it. In the second episode, it's like his power was just taken away. He was like begging to get Loki to on the mission. Like if you're looking at it, like all this judge jury stuff is similar to how we have it in Human World. Another weird concept.
Honestly, a lot of cop shows will have that, like at least with the judge person, because the judge gives them like the warrant. So that I wasn't too surprised on. With the security guard, I don't know about like that stuff because then now he's kind of like the lawyer. I just feel like there's just so many like moving pieces that I just genuinely don't like understand or like have a good like hang on. Like I feel like once they set the piece, the one actually, you know what, the one part that I found interesting is like Loki going into the portal to follow the other Loki. I wonder what that not their plan, but I wonder what
his plan is.
The goal is like with that situation. Like is Loki trying to like, is he obviously self-serving in a bit, but what is his goal by going into the same portal as her? Mm-hmm. Is the other female Loki willing to work with this other Loki?
So you would think when he travels into that portal, you would think that like when he looks back at Mobius, he looks like he feels somewhat regretful, but he has to do this, right?
I feel like that's the same energy I got.
Same energy. So then when he goes in, whatever, through the series, you would think that he catches Loki, the other one, either like disintegrates her or puts her in time jail, whatever the TVA has for her, and then pretty much does good, and then goes back to the timeline, and then that's how he has like the change of heart to switch up and become like a sort of a good guy, help Thor at the end there. But from your opinion, last episode you thought he was gonna be able to come back to life in the MCU. So how do you think that's gonna like work out?
I think, to be honest, for him come back to life, I just think that they're just gonna, because he's technically alive right now, I just think that he's gonna go back to a world with, well, technically his original world has his brother. I don't know. I think he'll just end up with like taking one of those things and then end up in a universe that has his brother in it. Like
just a different universe.
Yeah,
and he's gonna be content with that.
I think he's gonna be content. But I'm a disbeliever right now. So like these 2 episodes have like, I don't really have high expectations anymore. Like all of that excitement that I had towards the episode is like gone.
Yeah, this was honestly, it was just a hard watch. Like I was just sitting here like, this is long. Let me pause. Let me grab food.
Boost. I was like 52 minutes. Oh my! I only been through 30 minutes. Oh my god! Like
yeah,
it was actually one of the most boring like Marvel pieces of content that I think I've ever watched.
Yeah, and like normally I'm cool with boring content unless it's like while it's like set up, but this is gonna be 33% of setup, and like there's nothing I can see that it leads to that is like great. Like when we see the MCU movies, we understand, we have like a concept of what it's like heading towards, right? I don't know where it's heading towards, and I just don't understand like why it was so slow.
Why? And there's settings like in that like one like carnival area, or like where the people were like acting, like where they dress up and like act as like being back in the old times, like in the Viking times. Yeah. I understand like the
Auschwitz, Wisconsin, I think.
I understand the significance of like, oh, like they're acting or portraying the Viking times in 1985. But I just not a fan of like everything that they're doing. Like I just can't find like, a positive light. Like I could, if the show's to end today, I could give the show like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, it was really like reminiscent of Legends of Tomorrow, and I think some of the Legends of Tomorrow weren't as hard to watch.
I think Legends of Tomorrow did have some episodes where it's hard to watch, but I think it was better.
Overall, like it was better. Yeah.
Than this.
I don't know because Loki's a sick character. Like he's a sick actor and a sick character, and they're just gonna have to do something. And like when you see a picture of the female Loki, like she doesn't have the blonde hair. Like she has the black hair.
Yeah.
And she has like a evil look, and like I didn't get that from this lady. I don't know who was acting in it. I just didn't understand like why they went with that route. It just, and she had the whole like hood over it.
Yeah.
Looked pretty cool. And
a little bit menacing.
And then the hood over, and it's like everything died. Like the whole vibe just cut out. And the whole, I don't know, man, that was a lot of wrong in that episode.
Well, I feel like we'll have to see, and hopefully like the director has something to like make it come to life, but I don't know. It's such a huge hole to come back from that it'd be hard pressed to see them do anything like creative with this.
So what you said 3 for the show, what would you rate that episode specifically?
I feel like maybe a 2.
A 2 out of 10?
Like there's just
like your honest opinion is 2 out of 10?
I just didn't like anything. Like I didn't like any part of the episode. Like it wasn't interesting at all. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't like the art wasn't like super nice. They go to like a mall. They go to like
a mall.
The Walmart or whatever.
Yeah.
They go to like, there's no like huge backdrops of like the time. Like no, there's nothing that like I could highlight and be like, no, this part was good. Like there's just nothing. He's fighting regular people that the girl controlled. He's fighting Walmart employees.
Bro, he's fighting Walmart. He's fighting like Joe that shops for bullets at Walmart.
No
like,
booze. Like
I seen Loki take Hulk smashes. Like bro, like he's just getting hit by like a rag doll. Like granted, he's not a human, so he should be able to dust these characters
easily.
And like your hits shouldn't matter. I was so mad at that stuff.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Like that's why I personally would give it a 2 out of 10.
Do you remember? I'd probably give it 3.5
out of 10.
Yeah,
ooh, that's actually terrible.
3.5 or 4.
It's worse. I feel like this is worse than Yasuke, but I don't know. Easily to me.
I don't know. I think I'll take Loki over Yasuke.
Oh my god.
Just Loki himself. Just Loki. Do you remember the scene where he gets the files, the variant files of the Loki?
Yeah.
And he's like, Mobius like just start reading. He goes to like the librarian there, and he's talking to her, and she's not answering. And then he like slowly hits the thing, and I was like, bro, this is a lot of time wasted. Like,
I don't know what they're doing. I think they're trying to make him funny, like, but I don't think he's like, that setting is gonna be naturally funny. Like, I think they're doing a lot of things to set up jokes, but I don't think those jokes are like super funny, or at least I like corny jokes, and I don't even like the jokes that they have. So I don't know. I feel like it's just,
yeah, I'm not a corny joke person, but
it's just a waste. So
even like, Mobius was like making a joke
throughout the whole episode, and he's just not that funny.
I forget the exact joke, but like they were super close, and he was like saying something, and like I was like, you guys wasted, like the reaction was slow and everything like that. I'm like, you guys wasted a good like 10 seconds on this. Like, can we just take it completely out, or like fill it with something cool?
Nah, I agree with you. Like they're just nothing good.
Last hating part, and then I'll stop. When Loki goes into the what's it called, portal at the end.
Yeah.
Did you watch the guy that's running, like the
guy that was beside Mobius?
Yeah, like he's the cop or the variant cop. Did you see the way he was running?
Nah.
It was so like robotic. It was like this. He was like trying to be slow, and I was like, bro, like high schoolers are faster than that. Like, what are you doing?
Actually,
you're in a Walmart. You can't catch the guy. Like,
that's why I was dying when this guy said. First of all, I couldn't believe when he said this is the best episode. I was like, yo, maybe I missed something. And I was like, there's no way. I was actually dying. I was like, yo, there's no way this is the best episode. You actually almost got me because he kept a straight face for a little bit.
But I smiled.
So then I started dying. Like, that actually killed. I'm not gonna lie, that killed me.
Yeah, honestly, I'm 3. I give it 3.5 out of 10, and I'm like 3, maybe 4. The only reason I like is like Loki and like the small parts here and there. I have something to talk about like probably off screen, just to mention that. What do you expect? Like, what do you think the next one's gonna be?
I think the next one's just gonna be him talking to like his former Loki, and then the other guy meeting him, and then Loki's just gonna say like, oh, like it's not what you think.
Bro, they were in the TVA for so long. Like, it was just so much. He went to the cafeteria, he talked, and then he went to the library, and then he went back to the cafeteria. It was like he was at a university or college or something.
It was the most boring thing. It was like I was watching people just being at work. That's literally what I felt like. I felt like a show about Loki and the other guy, and they're like coworkers, and they felt like a show about them being like coworkers in the office.
I know we're being like negative, like, but honestly, if you watched it, like, I don't know, I already know I'm gonna get a lot of like coworkers saying like, I love the episode.
There's no way.
It's better than Falcon. So. It's better than WandaVision. And normally I let you have your opinion, and like in the back of my head I'll be noggin, but in the back of my head I'm thinking like this guy's opinion is retarded. No offense, but this one I'm just gonna have to hit them like it was bad. It was a bad episode.
I didn't genuinely think it was a bad episode. We'll see what happens next episode. I just don't think it could be good now. Like after these 2 episodes, I don't think it stands a chance. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. They don't have like the other characters. Like unless they bring Zemo comes out in the next episode, there's no way that
they didn't even focus on that. I like how they went to different destinations and timelines.
Yeah,
but the scenery just looked terrible. It looked green screenish.
Like, out of all those parts you could go to, you're gonna go to a Walmart in the year 2050 that looks exactly like the Walmart I can go to. Like
exactly, like not even futuristic. Exactly like it.
It just doesn't.
They changed the name tag on the guy, and they had like a thing outside, and I was like, bro, come on, yo, that was terrible. And then when they went to Italy, Pompeii, like the background of like the volcano, it was like green screen, and you could tell. You could tell, like, come on, yo, this is Marvel. Like, you guys have budget for this type of stuff.
Hopefully
it seemed exactly like DC Legends, and DC might have hit more points on that.
I think if you were to see DC Legends, you'd be like, yo, DC Legends is better.
Oh, the last season?
I haven't watched the first season.
I haven't watched since like
they have like time. They have certain times when they go back into the past.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of the episodes. I haven't seen the last 2 seasons.
Oh, I haven't seen them either, or like the Flash, but
that pretty much concludes the episode.
Yeah,
I don't have anything else to bring up.
That's it for me.
Just catch us on like Spotify and Apple Music as well.
And the links to those, I usually post the links to the podcast below if you don't like watching videos. I should probably say that in the beginning of the video. But you can find like the links to the podcast below. Yeah,
in the description. We'll have the weekly episodes for Loki for sure. We're gonna be working on other things too, just to fill in here. Yeah, if we feel like this is just getting too boring, we'll just have something else thrown in.
Yeah.
If you guys have suggestions, hit in the comments. We already got one for an anime, so we're gonna have to get on that. But yeah, hopefully Loki gets better. We'll see you next week though.
Easy guys. Sorry about actually it's not our fault. It's the show's fault, but it is what it is. Easy guys.
Peace.